Good afternoon and welcome to another video. Today is July 20th of 2018. It's my birthday. And for today's video, I'm going to be doing a top 3 coins to watch in Q4 of 2018. It's a bit of a ripoff of Data Dash's video, but I don't think he's going to trademark anything. It's a pretty nice guy. But anyways, guys, let's get right into it. So if you guys have been following the markets lately, you'll notice that things are a little weird if you're new to the space. In that, if you got in January or December of 2017 or 18, Bitcoin was relatively stable in that it was fluctuating around the 14 to 17K range. And when that happens, a lot of the capital that's locked up within Bitcoin looks to make money elsewhere. So it flows into the altcoins. Coins like Cardano, EOS, Ethereum, NEM, I could name any. I could have thrown a dart on a board and it would have pumped 5 or 6x. And because of that, a lot of people, they become overhyped on the altcoins because they think, why would I invest into Bitcoin if I can throw money into something else? Bitcoin's already 7K, it's already 100 billion plus market. Why am I going to waste my money on Bitcoin, which might 1.3x, 1.4x on a good week, when I could throw my money into Cardano, EOS, maybe a low cap, something like Zencash, and it might 2 or 3x, 4x, 5x, hell, maybe we'll have a January again. This is a really stupid way of thinking, to be quite frank, and that's because it relies on this premise that the altcoins are always going to surge during altcoin season, and that's just not necessarily true. The alts that pump are usually the ones that don't have the sort of price history or those psychological barriers that are in place to stop the price from ascending. So, when something like Cardano, which came out last year, and coins like Electronium, which were released last year, they don't have any price history. So they ascend, and there's no psychological barrier. Well, the problem is a lot of the altcoins that came out last year, the ones that have the hype, the price of them is kind of set in stone now. Not set in stone, that's a bad word to say, but you get my point. They've already seen the highs of $1.30 for Cardano, $1. And I have a lot of confidence in Charles Hoskinson and IOHK, and I actually am very bullish on Cardano. But what I'm trying to say is that just because the alt season of 2017-18 was absolutely insane, does not mean that you're necessarily going to see that the next time that this market pumps. Bitcoin could very well return to the dominance of 60, 70%. I don't see that happening with players like Ethereum in the space, but keep in mind with Liquid being launched on Bitcoin, so yeah, for me, the first choice in terms of coins to look out for, even though it's not very exciting in Q4, is Bitcoin. Keep a solid position in BTC, and when the market goes up, Bitcoin's going to go up as it is the market leader. When things go down, it suffers a lot less than anything else you're going to put your money into most of the time. And if we get a Bitcoin bull run, and you'll remember this if you got in before December of last year, Bitcoin bull runs usually leave the alts bleeding, which is kind of what happens, rather what's happening right now. It's not really going on a bull run, but we've seen a 10%, 15% uptick in Bitcoin's price in the last 2 weeks. And any of the alts that you may have been holding or you've noticed, they're all draining. And that's because all the capital that's locked up in those alts is flowing back into Bitcoin because people want to make that money on Bitcoin. And once alt season comes around and people are a little more confident in the prices of the market, I'm sure that capital will flow back. But always keep a position in Bitcoin as it is the industry leader. And all this decoupling talk of stuff from Bitcoin, don't buy into it, guys. Cryptocurrency is an amazing space and it's an emerging space, but Bitcoin essentially is cryptocurrency for the time being. It is the leader and you're not going to have any sort of decoupling from it. And with that gets to my second choice. Having talked about it already, that has to be Cardano. Cardano is a 3rd generation protocol in that it's trying to be a smart contract platform, amongst other things. And it's trying to learn from the mistakes of the 2nd generation and the 1st generation, namely Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin sort of revolutionized the concept of smart contracts on blockchain. We haven't really been able to see that be executed yet on any sort of mass scale because of scaling, security breaches, and other various reasons. And that's something that Cardano is looking to sort of tackle in that they have a large team of data scientists out at IOHK, as well as mathematicians, programmers, industry experts, etc. And Cardano, to me, is actually my second favorite protocol behind Ethereum. And if you'll notice, actually, I actually have positions in my altcoin portfolio of everything that is being managed by IOHK, or rather is associated. I have a position in Zencash. I have a position in Cardano, obviously. and I also have a position in Ethereum Classic, a small one, but it's a position. And those have performed extraordinarily well in the last month. Zencash is, I think, $33 right now. It's reaching not new highs, but compared to the rest of the market, it's performed incredibly well. ETC is obviously doing very well with the anticipation of being the first of the new coins to be listed on Coinbase. And then Cardano, with all this great news in the pipeline, they just got listed on OKX last night, actually. A potential Coinbase listing, which I think will happen, being that IOHK managing ETC getting a listing only naturally correlates to Cardano getting it. And they were a little more smart with the way that they did their ICO, and that they had a hard cap rather than EOS, which sort of ran up that multi-billion dollar ICO, which has kind of left it open to the door, is it a security or not. So yeah, they're definitely in the front running to be listed. And with guys like Charles Hoskinson, I don't want to deify anybody, but that guy is incredible. I recommend you go watch his TED Talk from 2014 when he talks about the decentralized nature of the future. It's just amazing, guys. If there's anyone to follow in this industry, you have to be very careful, as there's a lot of hype men, but Charles is not one of them. He's a solid guy, and anything that he's managing, I have a lot of confidence in. Without getting too cultish around him, I really like Charles a lot. All right, guys, and for my last pick, I'm going to have to go with Zilliqa, Zill. Now, the reason that I like Zilliqa so much is that it's another protocol, and my thinking is more or less in line with Datadash's, in that the protocols are going to be the projects in the future that are going to gain a lot of valuation. However, I have a slightly different opinion than him, in that I don't think there's going to be this big protocol war. What I think is rather going to happen is you're going to have a sort of protocol onslaught. And that sounds harsh, but what I mean by that is just the way market dynamics work. You're not going to have a friendly, bustling, decentralized marketplace with X protocol, ETC, ETCX, hundreds of protocols with interoperability. I think there's going to be interoperability, but I think there's going to be a leaning in the market. And what I mean by that is a lot of these protocols are running on technology, and blockchain technology rather, that is new, it's untested, and it's very much open to security breaches. So companies and developers trying to deploy applications on these blockchains have to be very, very careful that they're safe, and that they're going to be something that can be mass adopted or even niche adopted in running into the future. And with that being said, I don't see there being hundreds of these protocols. I think that there's going to be, this is a rough number, but I think there might be 4 or 5 that are big, and they're going to have interoperability between them. That could be through various different interoperability chains like Aeon or Arc. But yeah, in the future, I think you might have a few Chinese protocols that dominate the Asian market, maybe Japanese. You'll have Ethereum, obviously, in my opinion, is going to be the biggest one moving forward. EOS is a interesting concept, although to me it's a little too ideologically driven, and I'm not sure how practically it'll work. I'm more of someone who I try to side more on the side of pragmatism. And with EOS being sort of libertarian airdrop, let the market set the prices, I'm just not sure. I'm gonna have to wait and see how that works out, but time will tell. The reason why I like Zilliqa so much is it's an Asian product, and overall you shouldn't really care about what product is where. Vitalik Buterin has touched on the whole Neo being the Chinese Ethereum, laughably saying Ethereum is the Chinese Ethereum, and he's right in that regard. However, based on the history of how China adopts businesses and what businesses they embrace that work with the government, because the government plays a huge part of what businesses succeed in China. It's not a free market economy like you have in the States. It's sort of an open, a closed free market that is regulated by the government. You have to look at the ones that are going to get the partnerships and have the contacts with the government. And they usually side with their own in that regard. VeChain is working very hard and has already secured a lot of partnerships. And with Zilliqa being a very innovative, and what I mean by that is when you compare it to something like Qtum, which I was a big fan of it a while ago, but I've sort of become disassociated with beautiful Qtum lately in favor of Zill. And the reason why I say that is Qtum is taking the Ethereum virtual machine and deploying it onto the Bitcoin blockchain for higher security, while still having that sort of programming language that they can go forward with. Instead of being Solidity, they're going with Go, Rust, etc. Zill is taking something that is a novel concept, sharding, which could really help the networks or protocols scale to massive numbers. And it's deploying that relatively soon. Unlike Ethereum, which is going to be deploying sharding in 2 years, Zill is doing it right from their mainnet, which is in September. So with sharding, you essentially take these giant databases, break them up into data shards, and you run them in parallel with each other so that rather than having to sync up these gigantic databases, you only have to sync up the shards and they link up with each other asynchronously. It's a really cool concept, and if you want to know more about sharding in a very digestible way, there's like a 20-second video on YouTube that explains it pretty clearly.
So what's database sharding? Database sharding is where you take a big monolithic database, break it up into small pieces across many servers, and run them in parallel.
And lastly, one of the reasons why I'm so big on Zilliqa is with their mainnet launching in September, I think there's going to be a bit of a price surge before that. What we saw with EOS back in June, before their mainnet, was I think a quadrupling of their market cap. It went from $5 to $20 in a few months, and that was during a bearish market. Zilliqa doesn't have the same sort of hype as EOS does. Actually, EOS is a bigger protocol in terms of popularity in China than Zil or Neo. But Zilliqa, with their sharding, with their team, already on Bithumb, Binance, they already sort of have that massive liquidity. I'm a huge fan, and with the mainnet launching and already dozens of ICOs planning to launch or migrate over to the Zilliqa blockchain, I'm very bullish on the project, and it is a significant portion of my altcoin portfolio. All right, guys, with that being said, that's the end of my video. If you have any coins that you're super bullish on in Q4, please comment below and tell me what they are. I'm obviously very interested to hear what you think. And if you have any feedback on the video, please let me know. And as well, I'm going to be doing a Zilliqa giveaway. So if you stay tuned till the end of the video, congratulations, you get to participate. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, leave a like and a comment with your ZIL ERC20 address, and I will send 250 ZIL to a randomly picked comment. So yeah, go ahead if you feel like doing that. Potentially win some free ZIL. And if not, then thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day, stay safe, invest wisely. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.